Now, good morning, happy Monday, PAs, W staff, clients, friends joining us for TV Scoring Monday, where we look at the opening credits of a TV series and we listen to what's going on, we see the visuals, and I take out the music. You guys come up with something else, Spotify, YouTube, you send me it. We've been doing this for years, and there's a monthly prize, so you guys are getting better and better. Your ears are really becoming more accustomed to what's right and what's not right, what works, what doesn't work. It's subjective, but there's also a better answer than, there's all these kind of problem solving things you're discovering by ear training, and that's what this is. A lot of it is music supervision and ear training. We had a lot of fun with Twin Peaks last week. That was a dark score, right, for David Lynch's TV, because we've been doing TV series, so that was a dark score. So let's make it really fun today and go back to animation and probably the most famous TV show of all time. Today we're going to look at The Simpsons.
We have breaking news.
This is something everyone's got to know.
I love this place.
Green screen.
Muy bueno.
A big-time TV show.
I got it.
Where? Wait, who are you? I'm your brain. How come I haven't heard from you before? Your stomach gets all the blood. You shut up about that.
Excellent. Parental discretion advised. But if they were around, you wouldn't be watching.
Haven't you heard enough about the bloody Simpsons to last 1,000 lifetimes?
Watch all 32 seasons of The Simpsons,
No, I guess not.
only on Disney+. Plus.
I'll just get right out there and say I haven't watched a full episode of The Simpsons in my life, but I've heard references. Everybody knows it. It's a huge part of our culture, and that's not, I'm sure it's hilarious. I haven't watched it, so that's the confession. But I know a lot of the whole world has. There's 750 episodes. It's still going on. 34 seasons. It's a Fox show, right? So it's an animated sitcom, just like sitcoms, that were popular in the 70s and 80s. This was an animated sitcom and satire, right? The Simpson family. Everyone knows. There's a ride. Everyone knows Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, Maggie, and so it's this kind of suburban middle-class family in this town of Springfield. And it's just the day-to-day life. I mean, they've come up with, Matt Groening, who created it along with a few other guys, came up with this concept. And the score is really, really fun, because that's why we're here. We're here to listen to the music, and it's kind of a zany, satirical show. So what kind of score would we need? It would be something like that. Why don't we take a look at the opening titles and just see what we hear. The Simpsons. Notice I said see what we hear. It seems like a contradiction, right? Because you're seeing, but with all of these things, you are seeing things with your ears in somewhat, right? We see with our eyes, but we also, it's got to make sense to us orally and visually make sense, and these titles really do. It's zany, wacky, funny, cartoon-like. So this is Danny Elfman. We've talked about Danny Elfman for so many different scores. This one sounds a little bit like Beetlejuice to me, just in some parts, but he's got his own style of music. Supposedly he wrote this on the way home from a meeting with the creator of Simpsons and recorded it at his studio, so it came very quickly, but it's maybe his most famous piece that he's written. So he's the composer of the piece. Alf Clausen is the arranger and the composer of the early episodes from 1990 to about 2017, where he was the composer, and scored many of the episodes. So didn't write the title theme, but orchestrated it, and orchestrated music for tons of films and television shows. Moonlighting, Naked Gun, Ferris Bueller. You don't have a score without the orchestrator, right? Sometimes the composer is the orchestrator. Many times in television, film composers don't have time to orchestrate, so there's just solely orchestrators that get a lot of good work. So Alf Clausen's composer, but also the orchestrator of this. So let's take a look at the opening scene just without any music and see what it seems like. So there's a lot of hit points, there's a lot of goofiness. Visually, really a lot of stuff happening, because again, with the opening credits, it pulls you in and says, oh, it's this kind of show. So we need to come up with a score that is like Danny Elfman's score. There's a lot of, we've done this a lot with kind of fun cartoon-like. It's funny with cartoons, you get, when we did BoJack Horseman, it's almost like with animation you're allowed more experimentation, right, with characters and stuff. And the same way with animation for a music score, it seems like you can make it more kind of wacky and zany, and that's good, right? Here's a cool live version I found of, just so you can see orchestrally what's going on. So it's playful, cartoon-like. Why? Because of the instrumentation, the orchestration. Saxophone in it, it's a full orchestra, as you can see, but there's saxophone in there. What's that? Xylophones in that. That's wacky. That goes back to Stravinsky and composers using that in the orchestra. But it also sounds old Hollywood-like to me. David Rose and Henry Mancini, the classic scores of the 60s, but it's also got a darker feel, and that's Danny Elfman's. The bass line is kind of the minor, and then also the sharp 4, the Lydian scale. We can get into music theory, but it's got a little dissonance in it because it's wacky. So come up with something that sounds kind of like that. You guys know the drill. Get me something by Tuesday, and we'll see your results for on Friday. Okay, have a great rest of the day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.